Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Night Book Club. I know that the schedule says Wednesdays. We've returned back to Mondays. We've got one more night after tonight with this book. Quite a fantastic book. We've got Ted Riley's Prepare Your Home for a Sudden Grid Down Situation. Tonight, we're doing chapter 11, I believe it is, talking about security. Let me check and make sure I guess I could go to my bookmark. That would make it easy. Chapter 12, long-term solutions, security. So we're going to be talking about that. Quite an interesting topic, and he does a very good job of handling it. Let me welcome everybody. Oh, let me start off with something else. I am going to recommend a bunch of stuff this evening. It was just a last-minute thought. I went out in the garage and got my box of security items, and I'll show those. I'll try to put as many links as I can in the show notes this evening or tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock is my men's breakfast, and so it may take a little while to get that done if I put it off until tomorrow morning. My daughter and my daughter and grandson flew in from Newark, and they were having problems because one of the runways evidently is shut down. They're adding on to it, revamping it, doing something to it, some sort of maintenance. So Newark Airport was down to only one runway. They were here, and then when they went to the airport Sunday, they found out that 20 air traffic controllers had walked off the job because of what they considered they refused to work under the unsafe conditions that exist at Newark. So their flight has been postponed now until Wednesday. So they're stuck here in the Austin area until Wednesday. But oh gosh, what a thing, right? So I do have this book. I strongly recommend it for your library. It's going to be in the show notes. I have the next book that we're going to be doing, which is Jonathan Hollerman's Survival Tactics. And we're going to start that 2 weeks from tonight. That link is going to be in the show notes as well. Remember, anything you buy that I put a link in there, chances are, especially if it's from Amazon, I get a small referral fee. With that small referral fee, as it adds up, 1/4 of it gets donated to the Salvation Army. 1/4 of it gets donated to St. Vincent de Paul. 1/4 of it gets donated to the local county food bank, and then 1/4 of it stays here so that I can use it for to improve the overall quality of the show, microphone, lights, or giveaways at some point in the future. So I try to give away 75% of everything I make with this channel, just to help other people. So if you would click on those and buy those, that would really help my efforts to help other people, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Let's see who all's here and say hello. If you would, please let me know whether or not I'm doing a good job and you can hear me. I think I have the microphone placed in an advantageous spot. North Carolina Farmer was first. Welcome. Good to see you, Scott Hummer. And I saw him reminding people to hit the like button. Thank you for that, Scott. Little Lone Prepper, Utah Mike, Kaylin Strain, good evening. Sue Me, wow, fantastic. Good to see you, Sue. Laura Mannion. And let me see, anybody else here? Butch Graves, good evening. Good to see you, my friend. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this because a lot of good ideas. A lot of it is preparation. So one of the things he doesn't mention that I want to make sure that I mention before we get into his actual chapter, remember controlling odors. So watch what you're cooking and how you're cooking it because odors go a long distance. So one of the first things about security is make sure that you contain your fires. So, you don't want to be outside charcoal grilling while everybody around you is dying of hunger because you're going to know that you're cooking, right? So the same thing, cooking certain foods, those odors, especially garlic or something like that, you can smell those quite a distance. So make sure that you have odor control. And especially during the first month, that's going to be very, very critical. If you do that, the first step of security is not making yourself a target. Another one is going to be light control, and then another one's going to be noise control. So if you can keep control over odors, noise, and light, And I'm going to add a fourth one that very seldom is thought about, and that's smoke control. When you first light up your charcoal grill or any kind of fire, there's usually a lot of smoke, and that's going to give your position away too. So step number one, don't do anything to attract people towards you. You want to make yourself as gray person as possible. Do what other people are doing. If they're outside grilling, go outside and grill. Be like your neighbors. You don't want to be the fat man in the land of the starving. You want to do what they're doing when they're doing it. And then when you notice that they aren't cooking outdoors anymore, there's no more charcoal order, there's no more smoke, there's no more cooking, then you come inside. That's when you do things that are a little bit more clandestine to save yourself and your family. Okay, so the first thing he says is make sure you go outside. He talks about taking your children outside at night and look for the light. Where can you see the light coming out of your house? Are you being light conscious? Look for noise. Look for different ways. Can you look inside blinds and see something of value inside the house? Have you done something stupid, like start a YouTube channel like me and tell people what you have, so that they want to come get what you have? Be as clandestine as possible. Go outside, look at your home, and thank you, Gil. Good to see you. Welcome. Shenanigans, good to see you as well. But do an observation. Just look at your home from the outside, and what are people going to see when they come towards your home? That's step number one. Make it unappealing. Make it mundane. Make it apparent that you don't have anything that they're going to gain by coming in. Then he says, now start thinking about layers of protection. Start out at the street, work your way in, think of a safe room inside your home. His priority, and I agree, it's a fantastic priority. Priority number one is taking care of the lives of the people in your group. Priority number two are your belongings. If you can keep your people alive and still but lose your belongings, go for it. If you cannot put your people at risk in order to protect those. But it gets down to the bottom, and that's all you have. Then go ahead and do what you need to do. He talks about alarms. He talks about intruder alarms. Now intruder alarms, I'll get into those. I'll show you what I have. We have a whole house ring system. So, and it can go off at any time on my cell phone, as long as we have power, and probably even on my solar batteries. If anybody steps on my property, I get a ring notification. Then it tells me which camera, and it has a floodlight that lights up. I will probably turn that off. If we go grid down, then I don't want to have spotlights flashing in the neighborhood when people walk by the house or anything like that, or even a dog. So I'll probably turn off the ring notification system during a grid down situation. I don't want to have that stuff out there announcing that I have electricity when everybody else doesn't. He talks about his favorite DIY alarm system is a good old can on a wire setup. So you punch a hole in each end of the top of a can, run a wire through it, or a fishing line or Teflon line or something like that. Put it between two stakes, put some pebbles down inside or something, marbles, BBs, something that's going to roll. And then when people kick the wire, it causes that to give a tinkling noise. And so he really likes that. I'll show you my preference in a little while. But that is a definite, if you don't have anything else, that'll work for you. But make sure you have stakes to put in the ground. And I have some that I got from Tractor Supply that are about 4 feet high. They look like they're plastic and they're green, so they kind of camouflage in with everything. And I can drive them down about 6-8 inches. And then I can run wire around the perimeter. Now, the one reason I like them a little bit higher, and I have several different layers. I have a lower layer and I also have a higher layer. On the higher layers is where I'm going to put some of my booby traps and stuff like that, because it's going to take something larger than a dog to set it off. And so I don't want to have a dog or a squirrel or a rabbit set off any of my booby traps because they're down just 6 inches above the ground. So those, you want tanglefoot and everything like that. That's a great place for the noise makers, for the light makers and things like that. But if you have any active alarm systems that use like, use like 12 gauge shells, then you want to have those where they aren't being set off every night by a rabbit or something like that. He talks about lights, movement activated lights and things like that. I'll show you what I do for movement activated lights. And those are easy to do as well. The bad thing is that if you're inside the house and that light is at the corner that's not lit, you don't have any windows going out to see it, or you have your blackout curtains up, then you won't see that light. It's going to be just a deterrent for the individual who's coming onto the property, not necessarily to warn you. So make sure you understand that there are those things that are going to discourage people from coming onto your property, and there are things that are going to notify you that they are there. So sometimes a light does not notify you that somebody's there. It just discourages them. Same thing with some of the noisemakers I'm going to show you. Traps, you can dig traps. The Viet Cong were really good at traps. You can look online, FM 31, I think it's FM 3118 if I remember right, but gosh, we're talking about 50 years ago, is booby traps. And but just do a search. You can find a PDF on, and I'll do a search. I'll put it in the show notes, and it'll be in there tomorrow for the U.S. Army Field Manual on traps and how you can dig traps and everything else so you have them around. Another one is I did a short here a little while back. I'll show you those as well. Oh, I didn't bring those in. That's a totally different box. But I'll explain to you how to make caltrops. These are the metal spikes that were used back in the days of cavalry that they would throw down to stick in the hooves of the horses and lame them and throw the knights off and all that kinds of stuff. They're also good against infantry. You can spread those around your yard, and that's going to do some good. They are illegal to possess during time of peace. Okay, you can only have those after there's no more law enforcement. Make sure you reinforce your bolt doors. Just take your jams and pull out those 3/8" screws. Replace them with longer screws and reinforce them where capable, where it's possible. Make sure you have it good into the door jamb. Let me see. Let me catch up on comments here. Oh no, Lori's Thrifty Kitchen. Lori used to be a subscriber, or she was a subscriber, and watched us for a while. She had some major health issues, and so it appears that she passed away last Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that her soul is resting in repose. Thank you for checking on that little lone prepper. Yeah, she was a valuable member of this community. Shenanigans, good evening. Good to see you. I think I said Gil. And Gil's doing which topic soon, Kaylin? You are absolutely right, Scott. So that's why what we want to do is we want to make our house look as inconspicuous as possible, because the less we attract trouble, the less trouble we have to deal with. You are absolutely right. The best way to win a fight is to never fight it. So the same thing with your house. Okay. The best thing is not to be apparent to anybody, and that way they don't want to come in. That way you don't have to fight. Avoid every fight. Every time it's possible, avoid fighting. Kaylin says you have to do things. Yes, absolutely. And my house is different from one in a multi-step level condominium. Mine's different from a rural setting. Mine's different from a downtown brown house setting. I mean, yes, each house is different. We can give some general rules of thumb, but you have to figure it out for yourself. And everything's going to be different. Everything's going to have different requirements. And there's different things you can do, for sure. And one of the limitations, hello, Pete, good evening. One of the things for sure with renting is quite often you can't make any major alterations to the rental property. So yeah, you have to be cautious with that as well. Yeah, I will show you. I've actually purchased mine on Amazon. I'll show you what I have for the extras. Good evening, by the way, and welcome. Securing your windows. Now, there are a couple ways. If you have sliding windows, you can always put you can drill a hole and put a nut and bolt in there so that the slide stops when it hits that nut and bolt. There were also some things that we had when we were in Europe that you could clamp, and it was kind of like a C-clamp. And the small C-clamps, you just put them into the channel and clamp that shut. One thing I really loved about Germany, however, was they had what they called Rolladen. And so their Venetian blinds are basically built into the foundation of the house or into the walls of the house. So this is a blind that you can lower it from the inside and leave a gap in between these metal slats. And it serves as a Venetian blind, basically, where it blocks a lot of the sun, but lets some light in. Then you can lower it to where actually what it is, it's got triangles. So the bottom of one slat is shaped like this, and the top of the other is shaped like this, so that when you let them all the way down, they sit on top of each other, they seal. And it's pretty much wind, draft, air, light, protective. And they've developed that over a long time because of all the bombings. So you can be in light out conditions, put your Rolladen all the way down, and it's also going to protect you. It'll have light security as well as protect you from certain gases coming in and things like that. Make sure you secure your valuables. I encourage you to read the book. He gives you some good ideas. I'm not going to tell you what I do. The reality, however, is that in emergency situations, one of your most valuable resources is not your grandmother's jewelry, it's your food stocks. Keep your pantry locked, and if possible, make it look as little like food storage as you can. Firearms. He talks briefly about firearms in his book, When Crisis Hits Suburbia. He discourages using firearms. He thinks that try to take other manners that are less lethal before you take the lethal steps. Bear in mind that your shot doesn't have to be lethal. You can keep someone out of your home without killing them. In fact, some people even switch their ammunition for rock salt, which is an old trick used by farmers to wound an intruder. I'm going to disagree with that. If you shoot somebody and wound them, you're going to tick them off. Okay. If they get away, they are going to come back for revenge. If you're going to use force with a firearm, finish it. If you're going to start it, finish it. Don't go halfway. Now, if you want to use pepper spray, you want to use something like that to deter people, then do that. If you want to keep a spear at the front door or a fighting cane or a bow or something like that, do that. But use it. Do not let the person get away. Protect your home, but don't create an even worse enemy than what is already there. So the good thing about grid down security is that it's really not that different from security with the power on, except I won't have ring. Like I said, I'm going to turn off my ring, even with the solar system. Plan your escape routes. Make sure that if you're inside your home, now there have been cases in the past, and I'm not going to say it's going to happen or it's a sure thing in SHTF, that if people can't get in, they say, well, if I can't have it, nobody can have it, and they'll set the place on fire. So if that's the case, make sure you have escape routes. So if you only have a front door and a back door, make sure you have an escape window. Make sure you have, they sell these escape ladders so that if you're in a second story room, you can take the ladder. It's a chain ladder with rungs across. Just throw that out the window. You've got a ladder. You can get out of the house. Make sure you have a way to get out of the house in case they take any kind of extraordinary measures to try to destroy the house if you won't let them in to get what they want. Identify at least 2 escape routes out of every room, out of your house. One of the things he talks about early on, and I really think it's a great idea, look at your house from the outside, and wherever possible, use shrubbery, especially prickly thorn shrubbery like rose bushes or what's that, holly or something like that. Something that's sticky, that's going to poke people, and put those at the base of all your windows, because that's going to keep people away from your window so that it makes it more difficult for them to get into the window. So any kind of shrubbery or brush that you can keep down at the bottom of your windows to keep people away from the windows is going to be better. Now remember, everything has an upside and a downside. One of the downsides to having shrubbery close to your house is it's a fire hazard. So, you can protect people from coming in, but it also becomes a fuel if somebody wants to set the place on fire. So you've got to evaluate. Everything has its ups and downs. Got to evaluate. Nothing is 100% any one way. In order to have something one way, you're going to give up something else. Just be aware of what you're giving up so you make a wise decision on which route you want to go. If you have door and window keys, make sure everyone knows where they're kept. So I have seen people with locking grates or bars on their homes. I've seen this in Philadelphia, Chicago. Where else did I see it? Maybe it's just those two places I saw it, but they have these kind of like grates that swing out from the inside. The hinge is on the top, but there's a lock down on the bottom on the inside. So you can unlock it and push it out and still get out, but nobody can get in. And so those are managed with a key. So if you have those kinds of grates on your windows, I am totally against those, because I think I would probably forget where the key was, and if I was trying to get out of a burning house. But if you have those, make sure everybody knows where the key is, okay, so that they can get out. Make sure you have a safe room. How are infants, elderly family members, and pets going to be helped out in an emergency? Where are you going to meet if you have to evacuate your house? Make sure your address is visible on the outside, so the first responders can get there if it's not during SHTF, and practice the escape plan with your whole family. One of the things he doesn't mention, but I strongly recommend, is make sure you have FRS or GMRS radios for your neighborhood. Come up with a channel that everybody's going to monitor. If your house gets attacked, okay, and they're trying to break in, and you get on the radio and you talk to your neighbors and tell them you can be on channel 3 or channel 19, either one. Just make sure you all are in agreement on which one it's going to be, and let your neighbors know, hey, I'm under attack. I need help. If they come and surround from the outside these intruders, you're going to have a far better chance of survival. So any kind of communication you can have with your neighbors is going to be better. I bought 10 Retevis RT10 FRS radios. Each of them has its own charging cradle. So I can plug those into the wall here on my solar system and keep 5 charged while I give 5 out. So 5 of my neighbors have these Retevis RTV10s, I think they are. But anyhow, they have 5 neighbors each have a radio. When that radio dies, they bring it to me and I swap it for one of the ones I've charged. They don't have to worry about charging them. They don't have to worry about keeping them charged. Just when they run out, bring it to me, I'll swap it out. That way I know for sure I have 5 neighbors who are able to come to my assistance anytime I need it. Okay, let's see where we are. I do too. I checked into having them built into my home. When I had my home built at Fort Huachuca in Sierra Vista, Arizona, I checked into it because 2 things. Number one, I did not want 2x4 construction for the frame. I wanted 2x6 construction. And I found out you have to have 2x6 construction in order to put in Rolladin. But they require 6 inches of depth to put that entire system in. So, you even need more than 2x6 construction in order to put the Rolladin in. Most of the walls, the exterior walls in Germany, are 12 to 18 inches thick to protect from the cold winters. Phylacteris says that the other, gosh, I need to put my glasses on. The other part of this situation is having an alternate route out of your place. A roll-up or collapsible fire ladder would be good for apartment people. Yes, absolutely. Totally, wholeheartedly agree. Kaylin says a Charlie Bat A is good for sliding patio doors. I had one in the previous apartment where I was, and what we did in our last house, we had a sliding rear door, and so what we did was I took a dowel, basically a push broom handle or a broom handle, and just cut off the end and slid that down inside the track, and it was almost the perfect width or perfect length for the width that the door would open. So we could keep that down inside there, and that would keep it from sliding open as well. Then I started thinking about that, saying, I'm trying to keep people from coming in through a glass window, by not allowing them to slide the window. But what is this really going to accomplish? It's like we've got this door right here. It's the only door in the house that has a double lock, but it's got a big pane of glass. All you got to do is break the glass and unlock both locks. Crazy. So you got to come up with other things. So you're having a piece. What we have is a piece of a doorstop, and you can get the rubber doorstops at Home Depot or Walmart that you're going to use basically like to keep doors open in bathrooms, commercial places, stuff like that. Or you can cut a wedge out of wood and just have a doorstop, so that when they push on the door, it automatically engages into the doorstop, and they can maybe get it open 3 to 6 inches, but that's it. Okay. I had, and I lost it when I was living in the senior NCO quarters at Goodfellow Air Force Base, and this was in 1981. Amway, if you can remember Amway, I don't know if they're still in business or not. They had a intrusion detection device, and it was battery operated, but it measured the resistance on a door handle. So I had it on my door because senior NCOs, we had 3 senior NCOs to a billet, and each had a private room, each had a private bathroom. We had a common living room and a common kitchen dining room. And then each of us had a private refrigerator in the kitchen. But I could hang that on my handle in my bedroom at night. And if anybody touched the handle on the outside, the difference in resistance, electrical resistance on that metal knob would cause something to happen to that alarm, and it would start beeping that somebody had touched my door handle. So that's another thing you might want to consider if they're still available. I'll look on Amazon this evening and see if I can find one. And if I can, then I'll put the link for that. I might want to buy a couple more of those anyway. So let me see. Muskoka Uma, good evening. Good, welcome. Good to see you. And Little Lone Pepper, I'm sure you're talking about law enforcement, right? Yeah, there won't be any law enforcement or anybody else. It'll be you and who you can depend on, and that's going to be it. And I'm just reading some of the comments real quick. Hill Country Husker, good evening. Good to see you. Welcome. Okay, let me see. Gosh, I think I'm getting pretty close to the end here. Okay, so let me show you what I have. I've got a little bit of a show and tell around this subject. Next week, we'll finish up with chapter 13, I believe it is. And that's going to be in the event of economic collapse. And so then after that, then we're going to get into Jonathan Hollerman's book, Survival Tactics. I love that book. We disagree on a couple things, but I love the book. One of the things that Jonathan is really good at that I really admire him for, and I think that's something we need to always, and I harp on it, you're probably going to get tired of hearing me say it, everything has an advantage and a disadvantage. Make sure you are aware of both the advantages and disadvantages of every option you take so that you can make a wise decision on which option is best for you, okay? So with that, tangle wire. I've got this is my box. It's my box full of stuff for my perimeter alarms and stuff like that. I've got two different kinds of tent pegs, a whole box full of them. I don't care for these that much. What I'm going to have to probably do is put the wire or tripwire or whatever through these nylon loops. They just, I didn't think of it when I bought them. Maybe put it through this little eyelet where the loop goes, but this will go down in the ground, and it's going to be more of a tangle foot than anything else. Advantages, very low to the ground, not going to be seen. Disadvantage, it's going to snare rabbits, dogs, coyotes, anything is going to get tangled up on this. So if you're going to use a noise device or you're going to use a pyrotechnic or anything like that, be aware animals, wild animals, can set it off, anything that is down close to the ground. I started buying these. I prefer them. They're a little bit longer, about maybe an inch or two longer, but they also have this hole up in the top. So that way I can run my wire through the hole and it's not going to have any problems with tension. So that's going to be my tanglefoot device, a whole bunch of diamonds basically throughout my yard out front. Then I'm going to use those 4-foot tall stakes, and those are going to be for my other devices, whether they be not noise, light, or pyrotechnics. Ooh, great idea. Absolutely true, shenanigans. So you can line them basically with aluminum foil. I don't know if you've noticed it or not. A couple of I've done a couple more panels here in the recent past. I've been buying the blackout curtains and rods and everything to set those up. So I'm going to be covering these 3 rooms. The kitchen doesn't have any lights in it. The dining room here has 3 windows, the window on the door, these 2 windows. The living room has 2 windows. So I've got these 5 windows I'm going to cover with blackout curtains. And then we're going to seal off the rest of the house, and we're not going to be in the rest of the house at night. Everything's going to be focused in these 2 rooms. I'm thinking about getting 2 more panels for my bedroom, simply because that's where we'll have the air conditioner. So I have a 110 portable air conditioner that will run. I'm not sure if we'll be running it at night or not, but that's going to be on our whole house solar system. Yes, and absolutely. So they've got these devices, and you can do the same thing. You can even create a bar that goes across your door so that it's more difficult to push in. There's all different kinds of door reinforcements. Strongly recommend that you look into those. Let me make my note here. I need to remind you to do that FM on U.S. Army traps. Okay. To put into the show notes tomorrow morning. So what do I put on that? Well, 2 things you can put on it. You can get fishing line. Now you can get this in various colors if you want to. I use clear. You can use the green if you want to. There's also a yellow, a matted yellow. I guess that depends upon the season. You can use green in the summer, yellow in the winter, white whenever. I haven't noticed it being that reflective at night, and there's not going to be that much running around anyway, so I'm not really concerned about that. Another one you might consider, now this is an expensive option, but I got these at a Army-Navy surplus store up in Belton. But this is nylon cord, and it's used basically for things such as a claymore mine. So this is just what's it? It's not nylon. Kevlar triple arm system is what it's called. So I have 2 rolls of Kevlar that I'm going to use primarily around the front yard. Now, what are you going to put on those? Okay, there's a couple things you can put on those. Advantages, disadvantages. You can get these combination lights and bells. Okay, in the fishing department, at Academy, at Walmart. This goes on the tip of your fishing rod, so that if you get a bite, it jingles, and it also activates a light once you get this all packaged up and ready to go. So it's going to tell you not only something's there, but it's going to tell you exactly where it is with the light if it's at night. So I have a bunch of these. You can consider that. Disadvantage to it, number one, you probably won't see the light if you're inside a blacked out house. Disadvantage number two is the smaller the bell, the less noise it makes. Okay, so just remember that. One year during 50% off after Christmas, I picked up a whole bunch of jingle bells from Walmart. So these are my jingle bells that I picked up at Walmart, half off, after Christmas sale, so that I can use those to put on my triple alarm system as well. I want to do those last. You can get cowbells. You can get bells. You can get these. These are also another form of clamp-on fishing bells. They're a little bit smaller than the sheep bells, a lot smaller than cowbells, but do what's going to work for you. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Another one you can do is you can hook up your tripwires to basically set off mouse traps or rat traps. I prefer the rat traps. The reason I prefer the rat trap is because then I can take a Kyolum light and lay it across so that when this snaps, it snaps. You've got the noise. That's a noise deterrent for whoever's trying to break in, but it also ignites the Kyolum light so that now you have another light device telling you where that's happening as well. So I've got a bunch of those rat traps. Okay, now for the one that's probably most controversial. I have a bunch of these 12 gauge triple arms. Okay, so beware. Let me see if maybe I can get this one out and show you how it works. It's kind of like a hand grenade in a sense, in the fact that you pull a pin, set it in place, and then the tripwire pulls the safety pin away. Okay, so you're going to pull the striker out. Then after you pull the striker out, the safety pin, cotter pin, gets put in so that it does not bounce back and ignite your 12 gauge shell. But this is the part that gets connected to your tripwire so that when there's any tension on it, it pulls it. This is spring loaded, comes down. Here's the firing pin, and the firing pin engages the 12 gauge shell. And you can take your 12 gauge shell and it just slides right in. Okay. Now I have 3 different types of 12 gauge shells. You have to be extremely cautious on which you're going to use, where you're going to put it, and the repercussions of each one that you use. So I've got about 6 of these. Okay. And I've also got a couple 22 caliber. 22 caliber, I just use the 22 caliber shell. I'm not worried about it. I could, I guess, buy some 22 caliber blanks at some place like Home Depot. You use those for nail guns. You can get your blanks there, but I guess I could. Maybe I should. I don't know. I guess it's a judgment call. But I have double aught buck, and then I also have this one. This is just a noisemaker. This is just a very loud shotgun shell. Okay, so when this one goes off, it's just a big bad boom. And if you have these all over the place, then it's hard to tell which one went off. You know somebody's there, but you just don't know where. Okay, so use these sparingly. I want to say use your 12 gauge triple arms, use your 22 gauge triple arms more sparingly than you do the others. Use the outer area is going to be your bells, your lights, and things like that. Tripwire inside, tanglefoot. And then this one is CS gas. Okay. So I have 10 CS gas 12 gauge shotgun shells. So if they hit it and trip it, it's going to explode CS gas right in their face. Okay. Now, if you do that, make sure you got one of these too. Okay. Because I'll tell you what, if you are like I am, you're asthmatic, you're definitely going to need something to protect you, even inside, from the CS gas. It's not a pleasant thing to deal with. And if you're asthmatic, it's very unpleasant to deal with. But anyhow, those are some ideas on some of the things you can do outside. One more that I want to talk about, and remember, this is illegal to do, before without rule of law. So as long as there is the possibility of police responding, of sheriff's department, or any kind of aid like that, do not do this. Do not even manufacture them. I bought some of the 1.5-inch fence staples. Okay. Now these are just, it's a U-shaped staple that's pointed on each end. Okay. You can take pliers and spread them apart so that they're 90 degrees apart. Once they're 90 degrees apart, take a second one and put it in there so that you've got this V on top of a V. Okay. And the centers are joined together. Then you can take some bonding agents and adhere that together, weld it together, so that now you can throw it on the ground. 3 points are in contact with the earth. 1 point is sticking up. And that 1 point's going to stick up. The other 2 are down on the earth, probably about, maybe 1 inch to a 3/4 of an inch above the earth. Then you've got that one spike that's 1.5 inches up. So now you got about a 2-inch spike. So if anybody steps on it, it's definitely going to go through their boots. If you use those strategically with tripwires and somebody trips and then falls onto your caltrops, that's going to do more damage than if it was just going through their boot. So that's another option for you. Then, of course, we've got these booby traps that the Army advises us to use in combat situations. There is a free PDF for that. Let me see. U.S. Army Field Manual Traps. 5-31, landmines and booby traps. Okay, I'll put it in the comments here. Here's a link to it. You can download the PDF, and it'll give you some ideas on how to how you can do some other types of traps around your yard in protection of your home. So that's pretty much all we've got for this evening. I hope I gave you some ideas. I know Ted's really done a really good job. Prevention is number one. Okay. We got to talk about advantages, disadvantages. Again, during the daytime, if you have all these protective things, my 4-foot-high poles with tripwires on them, if you've got these tanglefoot that people can see, if you've got these shiny tent stakes sticking up out of the ground in your yard, what are you doing? You're sending a message that you're defending your home and that there's something worth defending inside that home. Okay. So that's the disadvantage, is you're announcing that you are prepared. So the more discreet you can be, and it's going to depend upon when you are in the scenario, where you live. There's so many different mitigating factors. I just want you to understand that in order to do overt defensive characteristics in your yard, that is going to be an announcement to somebody else that you are prepared to defend that place, and that you more than likely, because you've gone to these steps, have something worth defending inside. If you want to be pure gray man, don't set up any observable or visible defenses where they will immediately say, aha, this guy's protecting something. Okay. So just food for thought that you might want to take into consideration. Oh, XNYC. Let me tell you the disadvantage. I told you about, I can't get to this. Okay, I'm trying to get up here to you. There we go. Great comment. I want to comment on that. Dogs have their advantages and disadvantages. Yes, they bark when there's somebody there. Terrible thing is they bark when you don't want them to and let people know that you're alive. And if you're trying to convince people that you're not necessarily alive, then that can be a disadvantage. Let me see. Door handle alarm for home security. There we go. There it is. Okay. So yes, it is available on Amazon. Okay. So let me go here. And we want to go down here to present, share screen. Let me make sure I don't have my address showing. Nope, don't want to do that. It has my address showing. I know what I can do. Here, we'll do it this way. I'm just going to go there. Okay. I'm going to go there and copy that page, cancel, and we'll just put the link here. Okay. So now you can click on that link. And that will get you to, or if you want to, just do a search. And the search I used was door handle alarm. So you can find those door handle alarms. And basically what happens is there's resistance, part of that stuff you learn when you get your ham license. When you touch a door handle, it increases the amount of resistance in that metal object because it's going through your body, okay? You're transferring electrical current into your body. So these door handle alarms have a sensor on it that measures the change in resistance on that door handle. So the minute there's a change in the resistance, it then sets off the alarm. So that's basically what's happening is anytime anybody touches that door handle on the opposite side, it's going to set off the alarm and let you know that they're there. That might be a good gray man type of alarm system for you to use because it's not visible on the outside. And nothing's going to happen until they touch the door handle. Only somebody with black thoughts would test your door handle during, if you were on a home. They would probably knock if they had good intentions. They would touch your door handle if they have bad intentions. So look at it that way. But great comment about the dogs. Thank you. Okay. Laura, I don't know the answer to that. I would assume so because you're still working on changing the impedance, changing the resistance. So I imagine, I'm going to theoretically say yes, but don't take that as being 100% sure, okay? And Little Lone Pepper, I think that is a superior idea. I'm not so sure I would use nails. I'd probably use threaded screws and make sure you get those into one of the studs of your home. Nails, they can very easily be pushed out. Whereas screws, that thread, it's a little bit harder to push those out than it is a nail. But great idea. That's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to discuss this evening, or anybody want to come on? I can send you the invite link. You can come on and tell us your experience or your thoughts and share some of your beautiful ideas for the next 10 minutes. Or else we can just kind of shut it down 10 minutes early and save that time for my no more than 5 hours max in a month with StreamYard. Oh, thank you, Little Lone Prepper. That's a great idea as well. No, I see what you're saying. No, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. That's my fault. Yes, she's talking about basically a caltrop, but instead of making a caltrop out of like I was describing, out of those fence staples, she's talking about driving like 2-inch long nails through a piece of wood and then laying the wood flat so that the nails are sticking up. And that way you can put them on your windowsills or you can put them on the floor right inside your windowsill so that anybody who comes in may impale their hands on the windowsill or impale their feet when they land on the floor. Yes, beautiful idea. Thank you. I understand what you're talking about now. But also covering your windows with plywood is a great idea too. So you came up with 2 ideas. I interpret it 2 different ways. So you came up with 2 good ideas. Thank you for doing that. Yes, absolutely. And you can do those outside too. So those 2 by, let's say a 2x4 or a 1x6 with nails driven up through them directly underneath your windowsill on the outside. They probably would not be that visible during the daytime. And they would definitely cause some major issues at night when a person stepped on it. So yes, great idea, but definitely inside. Another one of those things that is illegal to do during the daytime. I remember, oh gosh, maybe 30 years ago, there was somebody who was in a high crime area, and he had those that he put in his windows where he lived, and somebody impaled their hand on it, sued him, and won. So just beware. Do not do that during normal lifetime. When I was in San Angelo, I moved out of the bachelor NCO quarters. I did not like the fact that I was always subject to inspection by the base commander. Just once you make Sergeant First Class E7 in the Army, you don't want to be inspected all the time. Okay, and they had a right to inspect our common area all the time, and then I was responsible for what the other two guys did dirty, and I got tired of it, so I got an apartment. A friend of mine, one of the other Russian instructors, had an apartment on Bryant Avenue in San Angelo. And there were only 10 apartments, 5 upstairs, 5 downstairs. And I got one of the next to the last. You went up this stairway over here, and I was next to the last apartment down here. Little did I know, my next door neighbor, the last apartment down, was a lady of the night and entertained men in her place in the evening for money. And so one night I was in my bedroom, and the living room window was right there at the front, and it had an inset. So probably about a 3, 4, 5 inch inset where you're walking along. If you're using the bricks to hold you up, as a drunk person would, all of a sudden there's an indentation, it's glass, and you just fall right through. So this drunk fell through into my living room. And so, that was quite an experience. I found out how easily somebody can get into your room or into your apartment, even if they don't have an intention to break in. But anyhow, yep. Well, and that happened here in Texas, Scott. So yes, you can defend yourself inside your home, but you cannot use booby traps inside your home. So that's part of that castle doctrine. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and shut this down. I would say, prep up. Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv was hit with, it appears, a hypersonic cruise missile earlier today. And it took out one of the runways at Ben Gurion Airport. So all of the international flights have been canceled. No countries are flying into Tel Aviv anymore because the Houthis launched that. Israel has sworn that they're going to take revenge. We know where a hypersonic cruise missile comes from. It did not come from Yemen. I can guarantee you that. They don't have that capability. So it came from one of their other suppliers. And I would say that Israel is probably going to take some dramatic action here in the very near future. There are so many sparks trying to set off this powder keg we're going to call World War III. It's crazy. So just do me a favor. Stay aware. Stay prepared. Make sure you have people you can count on. We aren't going to get through this all by ourselves. Make sure you have friends you can count on. If you are here in the Central Texas area and you need a place to go, let's start talking now so that we can develop the trust and friendship so that we can become a team in the near future. I've got a couple of people here I really, really like. Pete, Triple G Farms. Let me tell you something, he and his family are welcome here anytime. And I have a feeling that if this area gets inundated, I'm welcome out to his rural area anytime as well. Or at least I would hope that. So anyhow, do me a favor, build your clan, build your tribe, build your group, start working on people, start learning things. I will get that, I'll get both of those links for the FM 1531, I think it was. Yeah, FM 531, I'm sorry. I will get the link for FM 531 PDF so you can download that. I will get a link so that I can make a little bit of money on that doorknob alarm. I'll have those in the show notes tomorrow by noon. Don't look for them right off the bat, but they will be there by noon. So let's get this closed out. This is how you shall bless them. Say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. Remember that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please continue to be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. Let's get together. We need to do this together because togetherness is the only way we will. Take care, everybody. See you next Monday. Bye-bye.